to put back to space dock immediately, to be decommissioned.
Course heading, Captain.
Second star to the right. And straight on till morning. Captain's log, stardate 9529.1. This is the final cruise of the Starship Enterprise under my command. This ship and her history will shortly become the care of another crew. To them and their posterity will we commit our future. They will continue the voyages we have begun and journey to all the undiscovered countries, boldly going where no man, where no one has gone before.
Alright, welcome my friends to Operation End Times. I'm your Jedi Warrior for Jesus, Bent Hellestead. Today is March 17th, 2014. This is the first video in my The Vikings series. I've been wrestling with how to start this series. I'm actually kind of excited, but at the same time, I don't want to just, rehash something you already know. And I think, what I want to bring forth is something you may not know. So, there's so much to go into. Part 1, I'm going to call it Ship's Manifest. And Part 2 is going to be called Blonde Ambition. But we're not going to dip our toes into that pool today. I got this card. It's called Viking Laws. There's like the Ten Commandments, the laws that Moses brought. There's her law, which is the law of wisdom, which is love. And that, to me, pretty much is where Jesus drew his two great commandments, which was love God and love your brother. Now, in the prologue, I was telling you, man, it's all about reflections and how people perceive things. And, when it comes to Vikings, there are lots and lots of perceptions. One of the main perceptions is that they're a bunch of attacking hordes in their ships, pillaging, plundering, and raping. A very kind of a dark image. But looking at these Viking laws, in the times we're in, the ending of one age, the beginning of a new age, a possible eternal age, where we no longer look at things on a linear line, we just stack them up and look at the fullness of things. We're at the time of an event that keeps happening, which is the changing of times, the meeting of above and below the waters, an event that is triggered like a switch, a light switch, click, click, on, off. The trigger, in my opinion, being a call out to God himself. Jesus, come save me, But boom, behold, this event, singularity in motion unfolds. And it's described as, the heavens meeting, the waters meeting, heaven and earth as above, so below. But the heavens bow down and something comes down. And it kind of depends on who and what you are, what you got inside of you, as to what you see that is unfolding. Now, on one hand, there's a glory sight where you have nothing to be afraid of, because you've already started down that path of light, of having a relationship with God. So what you see is the glory of God unfolding, and you're singing for joy. But there's another vision of this, and it's repeated over and over and over again. It's in the book of Isaiah when they talk about Lucifer coming down. The heavens bowed and people are just running in fear, and that's, when the whirlwind came to Job, that was Satan attacking Job and, destroyed everything he had, So the Vikings is another reflection of this because, even in the movies, it doesn't have to be a Viking movie, but nowadays with the computer-generated graphics, they like to show these armada of boats, like especially these movies like of the olden days of like the Trojan Wars and the Greeks and the Egyptians, but the Vikings as well. But back in those days, an armada was an armed force, arm of Ada. But they say that the armada is also the word for an armed force that generated for whatever reasons around the Caucasus Mountains, And when we get into blonde ambition, we're going to trace blondness all the way from Mount Hermon on up to, the Scandinavian countries, and there's all sorts of interesting things happening there. But, the Vikings, the vision people have of them is when you're looking at the horizon of the ocean. And when you look at the horizon of the ocean, it's like looking at the waters meeting. The ocean waters appear to meet the waters of the sky. And when the Vikings would attack, you'd be standing on the shore and you'd see their armada appearing on the horizon. And they had dragons' heads on their boats. So you would see the dragons coming forth, coming down from the heavens, and the people would run in fear because it was like the Vikings are coming, run! And I will tell you, I think the Vikings knew absolutely what they were projecting, as their boats came on shore. But it's that same reflection of the heavens meeting the earth and something coming on down. And, in Revelations, there's the dragon, But, these Viking laws, when I read them, the first section is be brave and aggressive, be direct, grab all opportunities, use varying methods of attack, be versatile and agile, attack one target at a time, don't plan everything in detail, use top quality weapons. That all sounds pretty positive. 2, be prepared. And in Christianity, the Bible constantly says, prepare the way, be prepared. So Vikings, be prepared. Keep your weapons in good conditions, keep in shape, find good battle comrades, agree on important points, and choose one chief. Those all sound cool. Be a good merchant. Find out what the market needs, don't promise what you can't keep, don't demand overpayment, arrange things so you can return. That all sounds pretty positive. 5, or this is the 4th thing, keep the camp in order. Keep things tidy and organized. Arrange enjoyable activities which strengthen the group. Make sure everybody does useful work. Consult all members of the group for advice. And when you read the Viking laws, it's like, man, they sound like a pretty good group of people. So this dark image of them just killing everybody, like people that have these kinds of laws, I don't know that they'd be killing first. I think they'd be trying to be a good merchant first, But what you'll find is, the Vikings have this really weird relationship. Their mythology or pagan religion matches up surprisingly well with Christianity or Jesus and what was going on, in the land of Israel. So, for instance, in the Bible, in the Old Testament, they talk about the sons of God coming down and mating with the daughters that were fair. And I'm just going to throw this out there, but we're not going to talk too much about it. But fair has had this meaning. When you say somebody's fair, it means that they're blonde and blue-eyed. So were the daughters of men blonde and blue-eyed? Is that what was going on there? We'll find out in part 2, Blonde Ambition. But the sons of God came down, their offspring were the Nephilim and giants. Well, hey, the Vikings were fighting the Jotnar, which were, basically these giant, superpowered men. Christians have heaven, the Vikings have Asgard. The Christians have a rainbow. Jesus said, I will give you the rainbow as a sign that I'll never flood the earth. Well, the Vikings had the rainbow bridge, which got you over to Asgard. In Christianity, there is our Father who art in heaven. Well, the Vikings have Odin, the All-Father. In Christianity, there's the Holy Spirit or the Mother Spirit. In the Vikings, they had the Freya, who's the queen of the dead. And, then you got Jesus, And he's associated with thunder and lightning. He says, when I return, there'll be thunder and lightning. And, some people think he has a rod of iron. And then you have Thor, who's blonde, and he has a hammer, Mjolnir. But he's associated with thunder and lightning. Christianity, you got Lucifer. Over with the Vikings, you got Loki, who's kind of like a hybrid. He's not a full-on Asgardian, which would be kind of like the fallen sons of God creating some kind of hybrid, whatever. But, in Christianity, you got angels, Michael, Gabriel. Thor had his fighting buddies. I'm trying to think of what the heck their names were. There's the golden-haired Sith, who represents Venus, and Sith means to marry. But Sif had golden hair, even though in the comic books they always had her with dark hair. In Viking lore, she had golden hair. Jesus had disciples. The Vikings had crew members on their ship. Christianity is a brotherhood. Love thy brother. Well, the Vikings are a brotherhood. Under the Viking laws, it wasn't so much racial. Guess what? You didn't have to have blonde hair and blue-eyed. The Vikings, if you would just live the Viking lifestyle, you could be one of them as well. Both cultures had a dragon. The Vikings was called Worm, W-I-R-M, which almost looks like worm. And in Christianity, in the Bible talks about the worm, but the dragon for them was Neohogger. And the dragon was chewing at the tree of the world. So in Christianity, there's the tree of life, the tree of knowledge. The Vikings had Yggdrasil, which is the tree of the world. And then, in Christianity, you got Armageddon, and with the Vikings, you got Ragnarok. So there's this eerie parallel between what the Vikings or the Scandinavian people were doing in their, quote, paganism and Christianity. Now, is that by coincidence? You know what? We're going to dig a lot deeper into that, but I've just wanted to point it out how, the Vikings' pagan mythology almost mirrors Christianity and, I'll call it, the history of the Jewish religion. So, ships manifest. Star Trek, they were being decommissioned, but they were sending out on one final mission. Ships manifest means two things. One, when something manifests, that means it's brought forth. And, ships manifest. And what I would tell you is, life is a journey, and we are all each our own vessel. So as we come out of the womb, we are ships manifesting on the 3D plane of existence. So our ships manifest, and there could even be a greater ship that manifests as people are aligned to common frequencies, be it hatred or love, But a ship's manifest is also like a captain's log, but a ship's manifest is a list of all the people, all the animals, all the food, all the cargo. And I will tell you, ships manifest as we're born. We're vessels that come into the 3D world, but our ships also manifest, which is kind of like the book of life. Everything we say here, see here, say, and do, that we are the sum total of, and it is all recorded. And that is the theory that when we get to this singularity event, you have to be accountable for everything that's in the ship's manifest. Everything you do, all the cargo you have, the treasures you've stored up, and who you're sailing with. It all comes into play. So the ships manifest. And, the word manifest, I did a little study on it. I don't know if I can, find my notes. But the word north in the Bible, the north is talked about a lot. North can be north of a particular location, but north, as far as directions, means the heavens. East and west. East is the beginning, west is the end, alpha and omega. And south, if anything, would be like down below. Even though they kind of flip-flop, because some people think the north is foggy and the south is clarity. But Jeremiah 1, basically says, you're not a child, that God knew you from the womb. You were chosen. And you were put here to pull down, to root out, to destroy, to throw down, to build, and to plant. And then it talks about the seething pot out of the north of evil that breaks forth. All right, hey, I'm reaching my time limit. I really didn't even get to everything I wanted to get to, but we're beginning this journey, my friends. Come on board and head towards a distant shore, or stay behind with a horde. it's your choice. Hey, there's Operation End Times, The Vikings, Part 1, Ships Manifest. God bless you all.